I will not watch anything more complicated than a Hallmark movie with my wife. Look, I love my wife. Like, actually love her. She teaches English and history at the high school down the street, reads like 4 books at once, and can quote entire passages from whatever novel she's into that week. She's genuinely one of the smartest people I know, but put on a movie with any kind of twist, and she's completely lost. I'm talking we watched The Matrix years ago when we were dating, and she asked me halfway through if Neo was actually a computer, not in the computer. She thought he was a literal computer. I just sat there wondering what I'd gotten myself into. We tried The Usual Suspects once. You know, the movie where they literally explain everything at the end with flashbacks and a coffee cup reveal. She still didn't get it. Asked me who Kaiser Söze was after the credits rolled. So, I figured it out pretty quick. We watch Hallmark movies now. The ones where some lawyer from New York goes back to her small town and falls for her high school ex, who now runs a bakery and coaches Little League. My wife loves them. I get to hang out with her on the couch. Everyone wins. This went on for like 3 years. No complaints from me. Then last Friday, her sister Amy and her husband Josh came over for dinner and a movie. We made tacos. Everything was good. Amy suggests we watch Shutter Island. I immediately tried to redirect. Suggested we watch that new movie with Laura Dern. Literally anything else. They all shut me down. 3 against 1. We're watching Shutter Island. I knew what was coming. I could feel it in my bones. The movie starts, and within 20 minutes, my wife is asking questions. Quiet ones at first. I'm trying to shush her politely because I can see Amy and Josh exchanging looks. We get to the ending. The big reveal happens. Everything clicks into place for everyone in the room, except my wife. She just turns to me completely confused and asks why he's pretending to be a patient. Just says it out loud like we're alone in the house. Amy and Josh are staring at her like she just said the earth is flat. I'm trying to cover, telling her I'll explain later, but she's not having it. She wants answers now. Keeps asking questions that make it clear she didn't understand basically the entire movie. After they left, she was pissed at me. Said she noticed we only ever watched simple movies and thought I actually liked them. I told her I did like them because we got to watch together and that made me happy. She said she wasn't stupid, started reciting plots from her books to prove she could follow complex stories. I never said she was stupid. She's literally smarter than me in every other way, but she called me a jerk for not watching the movies I actually want to watch with her. So, the next day, I said, fine, we're watching Memento. You know, the movie that plays backwards and forwards at the same time. The one that's intentionally confusing, even if you're paying full attention. I watched her struggle for 2 hours. She kept opening her mouth to ask questions, then stopping herself. After it ended, she disappeared into the kitchen, and I saw her on her phone reading the Wikipedia plot summary. She didn't talk to me the rest of the night. Story 2. She screamed, "I wish I'd never married you." During an argument, I calmly said, "Granted." Then I filed for an annulment based on fraud. Her soulmate vanished the moment he learned she'd have to return the wedding gifts and dowry. I, 32 male, have been married for 10 months. Or at least I thought I was. Our wedding was big. My wife, 28, and her family, let's call them the Alistair, because her father Alistair is the ringleader, are very traditional. They believe in appearances, in setting up their daughter for life. I'm a senior logistics analyst for a major import-export firm. I make a very comfortable living. I'm stable. I'm what they wanted. As part of the marriage, her family provided a dowry. This isn't ancient history. It's very real. It was a $200,000 gift given to me, structured by lawyers specifically for the down payment on our marital home. The house is in my name. The mortgage is in my name. I pay the mortgage. This $200,000 was their contribution to secure the union. I thought things were fine. A little cold, maybe. All seemed distant since we got back from the honeymoon. She was always on her phone, always reconnecting with old friends. She wasn't working, claiming she needed to decompress from the stress of the wedding. I was paying for everything. Her car, her wellness spa days, her high-end clothing deliveries, all on my credit card, which I gave her an authorized user card for. I was patient. I figured this was just the settling in period. Last Thursday, the argument happened. It was almost embarrassingly simple. I was reviewing the credit card statement. Not to track her, but because I have to, pay it. I saw a charge for $12,500 at a very exclusive, very private resort club a few towns over, a club I'd never even heard of. It was coded as a spa services and room rental. I waited until she came downstairs that evening, scrolling on her phone. "Hey," I said, trying to be casual. "What's this $2,500 charge at the Willow Creek?" She froze just for a second. Then her head snapped up and her face was pure venom. "Are you spying on me?" "You're checking my spending." "Unbelievable." "I'm not checking your spending, Ara. I'm paying the bill. I'm just asking what this is." "It's a huge charge." "It's none of your business." She snapped. "It's for me, my self-care. You know, I've been stressed. Stressed enough for a 12,500 spa day without mentioning it. We're supposed to be a team. We're supposed to talk about big expenses. Oh my god, a team." She sneered, and her voice got that high ready quality it gets when she's really working up a head of steam. "You're not a teammate, Leo. You're an accountant. You're a walking, talking spreadsheet. You're so boring." I just stared at her. Boring. Yes, boring. "I'm suffocating here. I'm 28 and I feel like I'm 60. I'm trapped in this house with this life with you." And then she said it. The words that changed everything. She threw her hands up, her phone clattering to the table. "I wish I'd never married you." The silence in the room was absolute. My heart wasn't pounding. It didn't hurt. It just stopped. Everything went cold and quiet. I looked at her. Really looked at her. This furious, entitled stranger. I nodded slowly. "Granted," I said. Her face faltered. The anger dipped, replaced by confusion. "What? What did you say?" I said, "Granted. You wish you'd never married me." I'm going to grant that wish. "What are you talking about, Leo?" "Stop being weird. I'm just angry. I didn't mean." "Yes, you did," I said. I stood up and walked to my office. "You've meant it for a while." She followed me, her tone shifting to panic. "Leo, wait." "I'm sorry. I was just upset." I closed my office door and locked it. She started pounding on it. "Leo, open the door." "You're being dramatic." I sat at my desk and pulled out a file from the bottom drawer. The in case of emergency file. I wasn't surprised by the fight. I wasn't surprised by the boring comment, because for the last 6 weeks, I've had a private investigator on retainer. The distant feeling was real. The constant texting was real. I'd found a second hidden SIM card in her old jewelry box 2 months ago. I put it back, said nothing, and hired a professional. The PI, a no-nonsense guy named Mike, had been thorough. He confirmed was meeting someone. A man named Julian, 30 male, her soulmate. An artist who, as far as I can tell, makes a living selling overpriced prints and consulting for brands. But here's the kicker. Mike didn't just find a current affair. He dug deep. He found emails. He found a text message backups. He found proof that Julian were together before our engagement. They had a fight. He couldn't commit. She got engaged to me, the stable option to make him jealous. And then a month before our wedding, they got back together. There were texts. Texts like, "Just get through this, baby. Once you're married, you'll have him locked down. He's so naive. He'll fund our entire life. 6 months. Give it 6 months. Let the dust settle, and then you can realize you're unhappy. And take him to the cleaners. We'll use his money to open my gallery." She didn't just cheat. She married me under false pretenses. She committed fraud. I sat there listening to her pound on the door and wail about how I was scaring her. I made 2 calls. "My lawyer, Arthur, it's Leo. We're executing the plan." She just confirmed it. "File the petition for annulment based on fraudulent inducement. Yes, send the server to the house tomorrow morning. I'll be gone." My bank. "Hi, I need to report the authorized user card on my account number ending in FE582 as compromised and request it be cancelled immediately." "No, I don't need a replacement." I packed a bag. I took my laptop, my documents, and the file. I walked out of the office. She was sitting on the stairs crying. "Leo, please." She sniffled, looking up at me. "This is crazy." "Let's just talk." "I can't. Delara, you wished you never married me, and honestly, right now, I wish the same thing. So I'm making it official." "What does that mean? A divorce?" "No," I said, opening the front door. "Worse, I'm having the marriage annulled. As in, it never happened, because as far as you were concerned, it didn't." Her face went white. "You can't do that. Watch me. Your lawyer will be in touch with mine. Or, I guess, mine will be in touch with you. A server will be here in the morning. I'd advise you to be decent." I left. I'm writing this from a long-stay hotel. The petition was filed this morning. The server confirmed she received it at 9:15 a.m. An annulment based on fraud means the marriage is void. It never legally existed. And if the marriage never existed, All gifts given in contemplation of that marriage must be returned. The wedding gifts, the ring, and yes, her. Father's $200,000 down payment. I just granted her wish. Let's see how she likes it. Update 1. It's been 3 weeks, and the past 21 days have felt like a legal and emotional triathlon. Thank you all for the messages of support. It's wild to know how many people have seen this. So, the petition was served. Ira naturally did not take it well. I had 53 missed calls in the first 24 hours from her father Alistair, from her mother Beatrice, from her sister. I blocked them all. My lawyer, Arthur, sent a very clear, all communication must be directed to my office letter to her family. Of course, they didn't listen. The first confrontation happened 4 days after I left. Not at my work. Thank God, I'm not an idiot. I gave my building security their photos and told them these people were not to be allowed up under any circumstances. No, they found my hotel. I still don't know how. I was walking back from getting coffee, and Alistair was standing in the lobby looking like he was about to burst a blood vessel. "Leo," he boomed, causing 2 people at the desk to look up. "You are going to stop this. You're going to stop this right now." I just sipped my coffee. "Hello, Alistair. You shouldn't be here. You need to talk to Arthur. Do not speak that charlatan's name to me." He spat in annulment. "Are you trying to bring shame on my daughter? On my family? Your daughter did that herself when she was texting her soulmate a week before the wedding. Planning how to spend my money," I said, my voice low. "I'm just tidying up the paperwork." "This is a shakedown," he yelled. "You're trying to keep the doughy. I knew you were a greedy little worm." "Quite the opposite, Alistair," I said, smiling pleasantly. "I don't want your money. I'm going to give it back to you. Once the house is sold, that $200,000 comes off the top and goes right back into your bank account. Which of course means she gets what's left. Which isn't much." His face went from purple to a sort of sickly gray. He finally understood. This wasn't a negotiation. This was a liquidation. He started to sputter, but I just walked past him to the elevator. "Have your lawyer call Arthur or don't. We'll see you in court." Then came the dirty trick, and I'll hand it to them. It was the classic textbook move. I got served, Ara had lawyered up fast. She was filing a counterclaim. She was contesting the annulment and simultaneously filing for an emergency hearing. She claimed I was abusive, that I was a financial controller, that I had violent outbursts, which is hilarious. I'm a data analyst who builds ships in bottles. She claimed she was in fear for her life and that I had abandoned the marital home. She was requesting an emergency order to grant her exclusive use of the house. Force me to reinstate all her credit cards. Force me to continue paying all household bills, plus a generous temporary alimony. Force me to pay her legal fees. She was trying to use the system's bias against men in domestic disputes to paint me as the villain. Also, she could stay in the house with her boyfriend on my dime. We ended up in court last Tuesday for the emergency hearing. It was illuminating. All was there, dressed in a demure, high-necked blouse, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. Her soulmate, Julian, was sitting in the back row trying to look supportive. He looked like a guy who thought he'd won the lottery. Her lawyer went first, painting a picture of me as a monster, a cold, controlling man who cut off his devoted wife for one small argument. Then Arthur got up. He was magnificent. "Your Honor," he said, his voice calm and clear. "My client is not here to argue about an allowance. We are here because this marriage is a legal fiction. It was a fraud from its inception." He then proceeded to introduce the evidence. Exhibit A, the PI's report. Exhibit B, a 40-page binder of printed text messages and emails between Allah and Julian. Arthur read one aloud from Miss Alistair to Mr. Julian, first week before the wedding. "I know, baby. I can't wait either. Just have to get through this ceremony. He's so boring. He'll never suspect a thing. Think about it. In a year, we'll be in Greece living off his salary. Just be patient." The judge, a woman in her 60s, slowly took off her glasses. She looked at stopped fake crying. She was staring at Arthur as if he'd just set her on fire. Julian in the back had gone pale. I could see him doing the math. Allah's lawyer jumped up. "Your Honor, that's circumstantial. It's an invasion of privacy. It's evidence of fraud, counsel," the judge said, her voice like ice. "And it directly contradicts your client's testimony that she was a devoted wife who had a momentary lapse. This was a plan." The judge looked at Alara. "Ma'am, you are asking this court to force a man you are actively defrauding to pay for your life, your bills, and your lawyer, while you are presumably housing your boyfriend in the very home he pays for.
Julian literally sank in his seat. The judge denied every single one of her emergency requests. Every single one.
She didn't grant me exclusive use of the house. That would have to wait for the main hearing.
But she denied Alara any financial support from me.
No alimony, no credit cards, no legal fees. You are both adults, the judge said. The house will be dealt with in the final judgment, but I will not order Mr. King to finance what appears to be a criminal enterprise.
Counsel, I strongly suggest you encourage your client to settle. Strongly. We walked out.
All was hysterical. Alice Dister was screaming at her lawyer.
Julian was already halfway to the parking lot.
Final update.
The end was faster and messier than I expected. After that hearing, the dominoes didn't just fall, they imploded. The settlement talks began immediately.
Arthur, following the judge's cue, went in hard. He told R's lawyer that we had two options. Option A, we proceed with the annulment hearing. We will win. The judge will grant the annulment based on the fraud evidence. The court will then order the return of all gifts and the doughy. This will be public.
It will be humiliating, and because Counters sued with malicious and false allegations of abuse, we will pursue her for my legal fees.
Option B, Allah agrees to an immediate, uncontested, no-fault divorce.
But it comes with a binding separation agreement that mirrors the financial outcome of an annulment. The terms of the settlement were brutal and non-negotiable.
All would waive all rights to any and all alimony, present and future. The marital home would be sold immediately. I would have sole control over the sale. From the proceeds, the $200,000 doughy would be returned in full to her parents, Alistair and Beatrice. The remaining equity,
which after only 10 months was negligible, maybe $20,000, would be split 50-50. All wedding gifts would be returned to their original givers.
His family's gifts to him, her family's gifts to her. The cash gifts from my side, which were substantial, would be returned by her since they were in her possession, or be deducted from her share of the equity. She would be responsible for her own legal fees. Her lawyer, seeing his payday evaporate, told her to take the deal. This apparently led to the soulmate showdown. I got this information later from a mutual friend who Ara tried to vent to. Ara, Alistair, and Battis had Julian over for a strategy meeting, i.e. a screaming match.
Alistair laid it out. Ara was getting nothing. The house was being sold.
The dowie was gone.
The gifts were gone. Her credit cards were plastic bricks.
Alistair apparently looked at Julian and said, "Well, soulmate, you wanted her.
You get to pay for her. She'll need a place to live. She'll need a car. She'll need, well, everything." Ara apparently tried to play it off.
"Baby, it's fine. We'll live on love. It'll be an adventure just like we planned." Julian, the great artist, the free spirit, looked at her like she had 3 heads.
According to the friend, he said, "What are you talking about?"
"Live on love."
"I can't pay for this lifestyle."
"I thought you were getting the house. I thought he was paying you." All was stunned. "But you're my soulmate. You said you loved me."
"You said we'd go to Greece." "Greece?" Julian laughed.
I can barely make rent on my studio apartment.
I'm an artist.
I need to be free. I can't be, tied down by all this. This was the man she torpedoed her life for. A guy who was in it for the free ride. The second he learned the Leo Express was no longer funding his art, he was out. He vanished.
He packed his duffel bag, which I assume was all he ever moved into my house and left that night.
His parting text to Arara was, "Apparently, this is way too much drama.
My muse is gone. I need to find my center." He didn't just ghost her.
He spirit dusted her. The next day my phone rang.
A new number.
I answered wary. It was. She wasn't angry. She was broken, weeping. Leo, please." "He's gone. Julian's gone."
"I'm sorry to hear that," I said.
My voice was flat. He left me.
It was all a lie.
He didn't love me. He just wanted the money.
"Yes," I said. "That seems to be a common theme."
"Please, Leo," she begged. And the desperation was awful. I made a terrible mistake. It was him.
He manipulated me.
He pressured me.
"I never wanted to hurt you.
I love you.
Please, Leo, take me back."
"I'll do anything. We can fix this. Stop the divorce. Please." I took a deep breath. For a second, a tiny stupid part of me felt pity. But then I remembered the text. He's so naive. He'll fund our entire life. I can't do that, Ara. I said, the trust is gone. The respect is gone.
There's nothing to go back to.
But I'll have nothing. She shrieked.
Where am I supposed to go?
What am I supposed to do? You can't just throw me away. I'm not. You did. You wished you'd never married me. And I'm a man who grants wishes.
The settlement agreement is waiting for your signature. You have 24 hours, or we proceed with the public annulment. Goodbye. I hung up and
Blocked the number. She signed it.
the last 2 months have been a blur of logistics. The house sold fast, thankfully.
I wrote a check for $200,000 and mailed it certified to Alastair. I got a $10,000 check for my half of the remaining equity.
All had to move back in with her parents.
Her car, which I was paying for, was leased.
I terminated the lease and it was repossessed. She's driving her mom's old minivan. Her family, I've heard, is furious with her. Not for the cheating, but for the sheer incompetence.
She didn't just fail. She failed in a way that cost them money and social standing. I'm in a new apartment.
It's smaller, but it's all mine. It's quiet. I'm sorting through a mountain of legal bills, which I'm paying myself.
It cost a lot of money to not lose everything. I don't feel happy. I don't feel like I won. I feel excavated, like I just survived something that hollowed me out. I feel numb, but I also feel free. I wasn't a husband. I was a target.
A long-term investment.
She and her family were trying to cash in on the $2,500 spa charge that started it all.
It was a romantic getaway for her and Julian. A little pre-celebration of the life they were about to steal from me. She didn't just wish she'd never married me.
She acted like it from day one.
I just made it a reality.